rats and can't tolerate even the thought of them. They have to be gotten rid of, the sooner the better. Top to bottom.
Yes, that is exactly what should be done. But you must give me some time, please, Hammy.
Time for what? Just kill the rats. Do you understand? Kill those rats.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. All out of order.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Okay, everybody, I am back. No. You thought I was gone? You thought that was it for the outsiders? No. We're here to do two things. Chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. I had a little hiatus I had to take. Had a court case issue that I had to take care of only the way I can take care of it. And there's other issues coming out too. People, you will find out what is going on. You will be getting the inside skinny from the outsider because there's a lot of craziness going on. But I tell you what, it's coming out. It's coming out, Jack. So let me get started because this is going to be an interesting show. Because I'm back, took that hiatus, and there's a lot been going on in the news. Some passings. Malcolm Jamal Warner of the Cosby Show passed away. Condolences to his family. The Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, passed away. Condolences to his family. Took my cousin back in, what was it, 82? 83 when that Rocky movie came out. The third Rocky. Took my cousin, my kid cousin at the time, kid cousin Barry Brown, to see that movie, that Rocky movie. We went to the wrestling matches. I would take him to the match. He was a wrestling fan. I don't know if he still is now. He's a minister, a pastor. He's preaching the gospel. He's in the ministry. But back then, that was fun. And big fan. And I know Hogan had the controversy. And there's going to be some controversy later. There's a warning. I'm giving a warning right now. This is not going to be your atypical outsider show. We're going to go to a couple of notches higher. And there's going to be some things said and words said that people are not going to like. So I'm giving a warning before you go on with this program. It's going to get nasty. It's going to get nasty as nasty can be. And you're going to hear some things you're not going to like. So tune out. Go watch yourself some little cupcake show because this is going to another level. And it's going to get biblical too. We're going to talk about some heifers. There's 5 heifers. Well, 6. We're going to talk about some heifers and what's going on in Israel. We're going to talk about the governor, Mr. Commander-in-Chief. We're going to talk about the mayor, who's delusional. Completely delusional, and other situations that are going on. And Stancil McNair, I'm going to have him on just a little bit. But before we have Stancil on, I'm going to give him a call. Stancil McNair, DPW. He's running for the president, to be the president of a local 44 of AFS CME. And there's some issues going on, and we're going to talk about it. But I want to start with this young lady over here. Here we go. You know the story. If you haven't, I don't know, you've been living under a rock. The Register of Wills with monies and audits. I know one thing. Her son hasn't been audited. His office hasn't been audited. He's the clerk of the court. He's got like a $35 million budget. No audit for like 5 years, allegedly. Certainly not since he's been there. His mommy got audited. Mommy got audited, register of wills, elected official. There are 2 elected officials. That means I can give my opinion, whatever I like. Give my opinion on it. And this one here, son changed his name to Conaway, and this one here, allegedly, from the folks who work there at the circuit court, she's actually running things through him. Now this is alleged. And my belief is that's exactly what's going on. And she's in charge of a $4 million budget. Her son's in charge of a $35 million budget. He's on the 4th floor of the Cummings building downtown. She's on the 3rd floor. He's on the 4th. So you got a little connection going on. And you got millions and millions and millions of dollars. But let's get to the story.
Calling each of the allegations unsubstantiated, but adding
finds manicures.
Okay, there we go.
Manicure sets, pricey media promotions, and a TV show that never aired are all paid for with your tax dollars. The findings raising some serious questions about spending inside Baltimore's Register of Wills office.
Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor details where the money went and why it's raising red flags. Rebecca?
Yeah, investigators found that the office spent, but couldn't justify spending more than $1 million on promotions and marketing. And
Stop. Now, let me just stop right there. You spent over $1 million, 1.1 million, with a $4 million budget on marketing and promoting the Register of Wills office. Nobody gives a rip about the Register of Wills office. Her stepmom, Mary Conaway, was the Register of Wills for years. Her dad, Frank Conaway Sr., was the clerk of the court. Okay, so they have a family, I call it like a family elected business going on. Okay, and I guess she figured, hey, I'm going to get in, I'll be the Register of Wills, and then we'll get my son in. Armstead Jones is gone. I'll get my son in and be elected as the clerk of the court. What you see over there, I'm pointing to right here. I don't know if you see it. That's a degree. That's my business degree. Actually, it's a Bachelor of Science, Management Science. That's another term for business degree. I have marketing classes. I've never heard of somebody spending 20%, 15, 20, 30%, whatever it is, 25% of their budget for an elected office, Register of Wills that nobody gives a rip about. Let's continue. Let's continue.
now a state ethics board is taking a closer look. When imagining the work done inside a public agency handling wills and estates, most people think paperwork and probate, not manicure kits and media deals. But a new state audit.
Manicure kits? What the? Why are you ordering a manicure kit and you're a Register of Wills? Let's go on.
Paints a troubling picture over how Baltimore's Register of Wills is spending your tax dollars. Investigators finding the office paid more than $1 million on media and promotions, including $200,000 on an informational television show that was never aired.
Stop. So that's almost 200 grand of taxpayers' money on a show, informational show, that never aired. Where did the money go? If the show didn't air, who did you pay? Who are you connected to? Oh, and by the way, this free parking business with the clerk of the court, who's the company? What do you mean free parking? There's no such thing as free parking. Somebody's paying for the parking. Who's the company that owns the parking lot that money's going to? I mean, that question just bounces. It's like a domino effect. One question after another comes out. What is going on here with the clerk's office and the Register of Wills office? And the reason I'm connecting them is because you have mommies on the 3rd floor, sons on the 4th floor. Between the two of them, it's about $40 million worth of budgeting that they get. And you've got this kind of shenanigans, nonsense going on. Let's continue.
And $1,300 on 500 manicure sets, branded with the office's slogan, "Where there's a will, there's a way."
Yeah, where there's a will to get over on people, there's a way to get over on a taxpayer. That's filling, you need to add to that. Okay, let's continue.
For For comparison, auditors looking at 3 similarly sized register of wills. One, spending nothing on promotions. Another, $350 on pens. And a third, $2,500 on pens, calendars, and other items.
That's about right.
Apparently, this audit was long overdue.
Taxpayer advocate David Williams weighing in.
This shows that even the most benign agency can waste money and have problems.
So David, first of all, he uses the term waste. You can't use that term, David, until after you do a full investigation, not just an audit, but an investigation on where the money went, who it went to, when it went to them, and anything else connected to the funds, David. So when you use the term, mismanage or waste, that's not a proper term, because you haven't gotten all the information in to find out what happened. Once you get all the information in, then you can say after. Okay, David, after you get all the information in an investigation, you can then say, okay, we can see that this was actually a waste or misspend. As opposed to, this is, it's not a waste. These people were getting this money. This is a grift. They were grifting money. So I agree and I disagree with David. His terminology is just incorrect at this point. Let's continue.
Williams noting auditors found no justification for the spending and suspect in some cases the city's competitive bidding process was intentionally skirted.
Okay, that's corruption. I mean, you're using these cupcake words to explain something that's corruption. That's plain and simple. So let's go on.
Could be corruption tied to this.
Thank you.
Need to see who the vendors are, where the money went, if there are any ties within the register of wills to make sure that someone in this agency hasn't been profiting off of this.
That's correct.
The audit also raising concerns over employee oversight, finding evidence one employee with a 6-figure salary was repeatedly absent from work, and another accidentally paid $5,000 after they left the job.
This can't go unanswered. There has to be responsibility put on someone, and really it starts at the top.
In a letter, the city's Register of Wills, Belinda Conaway, a longtime city official, calling each of the allegations unsubstantiated.
It's okay. Now you got this clown ass woman, because that's what I'm going to call her, got the nerve to say, you know what, it's unsubstantiated. That's bullshit. That is unsubstantiated. Full well somebody quits and then you keep paying the money after for another $5,000. And David Williams is correct. Who are the vendors? Who's profiting off of the funds? That just whoosh, whoosh, million plus. Whoosh. Let's continue.
But adding, the recommendations are appreciated and will be taken into consideration.
Okay, that's mighty. When you're that arrogant and you are that entitled, where you say things like that, you know what, your efforts are really appreciated. This is coming from Belinda Conaway, I believe. This is what she's saying. What kind of you talk about entitled? All this money's going out, taxpayers' money. She gets audited finally. Her son needs to be audited, the clerk of the court. Tens of millions of dollars each year, no audit in 5 years allegedly from what I'm getting. And I spoke with the procurement person who was in procurement for years, over 25 years in procurement, worked at the circuit court. Recently he got terminated. And I spoke with, he told me, he said, Sean, there's all kinds of nonsense going on. So if you can speak with the procurement person for the Register of Wills, and they can be a whistleblower, which is what happened, the person in procurement blew the whistle of what was going on. Then they did an audit. So you got a procurement person at the circuit court for Baltimore City. Right after this happens, that procurement person at the circuit court for Baltimore City is terminated. You gotta have a brain with a box of rocks for brains not to be able to figure, wait a minute, is the clerk of the court terminating his procurement person who's been there for 25 plus years and knows everything inside and out? Is he getting rid of him because of what happened to mommy? You got to ask yourself that question. Let's continue deep diving this.
In response, auditors stressing their findings are backed by facts.
You can't spend $1 million on promotions and media and $200,000 on a TV show and not have some repercussions.
While no legal action is being taken, auditors did refer some findings to the state's ethics commission. Conaway is also up for re-election next year.
Okay, they referred it to the state ethics commission. Who should be in there should be the FBI, because she's an elected official. Hey, Carlton Douglas, WOLB 1010 host of the Frank Conaway Senior Show. I was on the show with Tyrone Power, former FBI special agent, and we had a little chat, and he confirmed what I already knew. Because she's an elected official and the federal funds that are involved and mingled into all this, involved in this, the FBI has jurisdiction to investigate what's going on with her and anybody else who's an elected official and federal funds are involved, which the city does receive. So, yeah, they should be investigating this, not an ethics board. Can you have an ethics board investigated as well? Sure. But you need a serious investigation. You're talking about hundreds of thousands and maybe millions of dollars, and then Lord knows what's going on with the Circuit Court for Baltimore City with that, because they haven't been audited allegedly in 5 years. Let's continue.
Williams warning excessive spending could soon cost her at the ballot box.
I think
At the ballot box, she's going to be getting perp walked. That's what you're concerned about? See, this is the arrogance. Your concern isn't a criminal investigation. You're getting perp walked. You're doing time. Sheila Dixon was facing that. Catherine Pugh did time. And some others involved in Baltimore City politics and elected officials. But that's not your concern. Your concern is an election because you are above the law. Belinda, yeah, Belinda, I'm talking to you. You think that you're above the law. You think that because you got a Conaway name, that really don't mean much now. Okay, that's been drugged through the mud because you drug it through the mud. And you think that you can just do whatever you want and you're not worried about a perp walk? And there won't be a criminal investigation? Just an ethics, oh gee whiz, a little slap on the hand and it's just going to walk away? Woman, you're crazy. You're crazy in the head if that's what you think this is going to, that's all that's going to happen. Let's continue.
Weigh heavily on voters as they decide the next register of wills.
Now today I reached out to Conaway's office asking why she believes voters should continue to trust her to look over their...
Anybody that votes for Belinda Conway, first of all, if the perp walk doesn't happen first, anybody that votes for Belinda Conway or any Conaway needs their head examined. You got an IQ not only in double digits, it's in like lower mid-range, Forrest Gump, double digit range. If you vote for her after hearing this, you deserve what you get. Anyway, I'm going to move to the next story. You know what? Let me go ahead and call Stancil McNair, because there's an issue going on with the voting. I'm gonna call Stancil. Now, you know what? 2 more minutes. I'm gonna call Stancil. I'm just gonna read this. This is WJZ CBS News. Register of Wills Office spent over $1 million on promotions, including on-air TV show audit fines. I'm going to read this real quick if you scroll down. The Maryland Office of Legislative Audits in a report said that office circumvented competitive bidding procedures. Now, they just read the story. I mean, you just saw the story. I'm just reading it. And she was a former Baltimore City Councilwoman. Okay. And we know about that. She's the Register of Wills. And the amount was significantly higher justify approximately $1.1 million spending between January 1st, 2017 and October 24th, 2024. I like to give more information. There's information here, but that was I like to get into a little bit deeper. And they did talk about it being significantly higher than the other register of wills. Wow. $1,300 for 500 kits, manicure kits. They're talking about paychecks, recommendations. So if you want to look into this more, you can go ahead and pull up the story, or you can YouTube it. Because that's what's going on. And I'm not going to let the story, the news may let it die, but Sean Sims, we're going to deep dive this. I'm going to really look in to find out what is going on with these funds. I've already been looking into the circuit court and their shenanigans. But the Register of Wills, Belinda Conaway, yeah. So let's go ahead and call Stancil. He should be on standby, because we got to hear what's going on with DPW and this union vote this Saturday for Local 44 president. And Stancil McNair is running for president. I just found out a few days ago he was on WOLB. There he is, Stancil. We got you here. Hey man, I know you were on WOLB on the show this week, talking about running for the president of AFSCME. Ask Me Local 44. What is going on with that? Because you and I have been talking about it. I've been looking at some information, putting my 2 cents in to find out what's going on. What's going on with that?
Well, to be honest with you, it's nothing but complete corruption. And I just think that usually all across DPW, I don't care what department it is, because you got abuse from supervision is not being checked by other management. The resource or the unions that hold they vow to protect us. So the reason I'm running for president is because we don't have a powerful voice in DPW at all to fight against this at all. Our union don't do nothing for us. They take out dues. They support local representatives from the city council and other people to support us and what we're doing, and we don't get no support across the board at all. And it's sad that you have people out here so committed to doing a great job, and we fight to get a raise, which everybody knows that we need. Because people out here are barely making it. The cost of living is going up. Union dues are going up without representation. There's so much that we facing as city workers that is unfair to the people that hold this city, because at the end of the day, what people not realize, if every city worker from every department stopped doing their job, this thing would not run.
Yo, I know.
I would be proud.
It would be bad. It would be bad. What is going on? I know your opponent that you're running against. It looks. I mean, I looked this guy up, Trevor Taylor. It looks like he's a career union person. It looks like that's his whole thing has been the union. Have you been running into any issues with unfairness where he has access to information, but you don't have access to information or members in order to have a fair process? Is that what you've been running into?
Yes, actually, the other so first and foremost, everybody is not being notified of this election. So, with being part of you are supposed to get an election card every time of the election. They are not making sure everybody get there. They only making so certain people get it. Mainly the people that they deal with, like in certain departments. Even down to in the midst of us traveling this week, we only had a week that I was only notified last week of the election. And unlike most people that work for the city, nobody knew about it. I done came across over 500 people in this week, and not one person, it was a few. And that's because being on the news and everything like that, that's the only reason they knew about it. But the people that represent us are not being transparent. They're not telling us nothing. They don't. You can call them and ask them about what's going on with the negotiation. Now remember, you just said that Trevor Taylor, this is his career. He's been doing this for a long time, right?
Yeah, it was 16 years, I believe.
He's been doing this, but those things you see, who wrote those things? You get what I'm saying? So with them, just like with Glenn Middleton, these people put them in a certain space, right? Like they save it and they do so much for us and they don't. And Trevor Taylor's one of them because he's part of Mr. Glenn Middleton regime. And I say this respecting to the man there, so I don't want to keep repeating his name, but these people are chosen, not elected. When Mr. Glenn Middleton was out dealing with Alzheimer's and was very sick, they had Mr. Glenn Middleton as the president for 2 years straight before they chose to put somebody else in it without an election.
There wasn't an election? There wasn't a voter election at all?
Well, when we asked them what happened, they said they had an emergency election. That's how they got in there. So if you have an emergency election...
An emergency election?
All of the members. You can't notify who you want to get yourself in there, but that's what they did.
Well, here's the thing. I don't mean to interrupt you, but here's the thing. Okay, I'm listening to what you're saying, but they have, and I've got it pulled up now on the screen. The podcast will be coming out so everyone can see it. Ask Me, Local Union Election Manual, and I've got Lee Saunders, who's the president of Ask Me, all of Ask Me, and it says, union democracy depends upon two things: an understanding of the union's procedures, so you got to understand that, and member participation. Nowhere is that understanding of more importance than in the local union's elections process. Hey Lee, because I know you watched the podcast, I know you watched the show, where's the fairness in that? You're having an election, and Stancil's saying allegedly you don't even let your members know that there's an election until a week prior? How's the fairness in that? And then this guy, Trevor Taylor, tell me about, is Trevor getting an unfair advantage on you with knowing about the election longer than you knew about it, and the process and having, does he have access to information and members that you don't have, Stancil?
Oh, he actually does, and how I know that's fact, because what he did was he reached out to one of the people on my executive board. I think it's Teresa Blow. He reached out to her and asked her why was she on my ticket. So she explained to him, because I'm a man standing on a different type of principle in what she's saying. That was she explained to him. So she also told him, he didn't say her. He said, I see that you are misusing database from Ask Me to gain vote. And he said yes. So she said, well, we should report to you the same thing. And he told her, always go above my head, so y'all gotta go above me to get that information.
Whoa, that is corruption. That's unfair. That's discrimination. You're being discriminated against. That is discrimination. Yes, it is. You have to issue a challenge in the fairness of the process with the election committee. I have emailed Patrick Moran to get the names of the election committee. He has not. I did it earlier today. He has not sent anything back. Have you reached out to Patrick Moran for this information, Stancil?
Yes, I have, and in the midst of me using my conversation earlier, he did email me back. He connected me with somebody named Lakeisha Bain. She's the head of the election committee. So he did connect. I'm not gonna lie, he did connect with her. He did respond.
Okay.
So he did respond, but I'm reaching out to her now. I'm trying to get a hold of her today because the election is served.
Yeah, you have to offer up a challenge to the election committee. If you go ahead and you send that, it's documented that you put up the challenge, and it'll be in a timely manner prior to the election. I mean, we'll talk more about this, but people, we're transparent. We want the people to know this is what goes on. This is the shenanigans that goes on. And I believe Patrick reached out to you because I sent that email out to him because I asked for the election committee members' names. He did not send them to me, but that's okay, Patrick, because I'm going to be reaching out to you again, Ace, and your people. This is unfair, Stan. So when is the election? What's the place and the time of the election this Saturday?
Well, the election is August the 23rd, 2025, and it will be held at Bush Street, 1410 Bush Street. So the way it goes is the nominations go in between 10 and 12, and then we come back at 1 and 4 to do the vote.
So that's 1410, 1410, Bush Street. And that will be on Saturday. And you said that there's going to be a process starting at 10 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so who is it open to? Is it only open for members? How does that work?
Well, me personally, at this time, nobody has been following the rules, you feel me? So I have invited numerous people out to come witness this. I want as many people as possible because you got the right. If we got a parking lot behind our building, and people have the right to be up there while it's going on. Now I can't now say you come to the building. You can't come to the building, but you have to put a request in to them so you can be a part of it. But any member can easily get in there. So I'm just asking you to come out and see the chamber. Come talk to some of the people.
Well, I'll be there. I will be there this Saturday because I've been involved in elections where there were funny business going on, and I know how that works. So I'll be there. I'm going to be reaching out to Lee Saunders. I've already carbon copied him since he's the president of all of ASME. I'm going to be reaching out to Patrick Moran again, and we're gonna deal with this one way or another, Stan. So justice is going to take place. It will be done. This corruption and this unfairness will not go unchecked, and the outsiders are going to be there. I'm going to let Doc know about it as well. I don't know if I know Linda knew about it because she was on the WLB show.
I talked to Doc and Mr. Leo.
Okay. And what did they say?
They on board. They told me they let me know where they need to be at.
Okay, great. I'm gonna reach out to them as well. So I'll be talking to you, Stan. So I'll give you a call in a little bit, and we will take care of this business. Okay, brother?
I appreciate you, big bro. Like that's from the heart. Like you always mean well by the small people. You feel me?
I'm just letting everybody know I'm back. I'm back, and I'm ready to take on the scumbags and the crooks and the corruption and the bullies. I have bullies for breakfast, and I'm ready to take them on, Stan. So, and here's other bullies, another bully that we're going to have to deal with. Okay, Stan, so take care, okay? I'll talk to you later.
I appreciate you, Mr.
Okay, bye-bye. Here we go again with this corruption and unfairness, but it's going to get dealt with. It's going to get dealt with. Let's move on. Speaking of dealing with, some people, they get delusions of grandeur. I'm going to talk about the governor. Hello, governor. Hello, hello. Wes Moore. Governor Moore was on CNN. I can't trash the Moore name because that's my family's name. My family's name is actually Moore with my great-grandparents from Philadelphia. My family's from Philadelphia on my mother's side. But I don't really care about the name Wes. So let's have fun with Wes. Okay, Wes, what do you have to say?
To take on this mission. As someone who has served this country overseas and who has led soldiers in combat, and as someone who is...
And someone who gave themselves a Bronze Star, because they didn't get a Bronze Star. So they became governor and gave themselves a Bronze Star, allegedly. I'll check on that, but that's what I heard. Anyway, let's go.
Not just the 63rd governor of Maryland, but also the commander...
Uh-oh. 63rd, 666. Yeah, you know what? 666. The way he's acting, I mean, he may be just in line with, or aligned with, ALIGNED, aligned with that 666 crowd. Okay, 63rd governor. Let's go on.
Chief of the Maryland National Guard, I take very seriously about how, when, and why I deploy members of our National Guard in cases of emergency and in true crises. And I will not authorize the usage of Maryland National Guard forces for missions that I do not deem to be either mission critical or mission aligned. And what we are seeing right now, this distraction, distracting away from the fact that Donald Trump's policies have caused unemployment to go up, have caused people to lose their health.
Wait. Shut up. You got to be kidding me. This guy went in, Because all he is to me is nothing but a used car salesman. Fake, phony, fake. Went in, the coffers were full. The state coffers were full, almost $5+ billion surplus, sitting there. This clown, not Anderson Cooper, this clown Wes goes in there, raids the coffers. Now we're like, what, $3+ billion in a deficit? And he raising everything. Taxes going up, fees for everything going up. This is cab rides going up, 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 up. And he's got the nerve and audacity to talk about fiscal issues. Let's go on.
Care has caused children to be able to lose their food benefits, and he's now using this as a tool. He's using military personnel, these citizen soldiers, as a cudgel and as a tool to be able to advance his political purposes, because if he really wants to address the issue of violent crime, he just needs to look at what we've done in the state of Maryland over the past 2.5 years.
What have you done?
When I first became the governor in 2022, Baltimore was averaging almost a murder a day. Now, the homicide rate in Baltimore is nearly a 50-year low, and we have watched how the state of Maryland has essentially helped to lead the country in drops in violent crime, in drops in non-fatal shootings, in drops in carjackings. So if he truly wants to understand...
First of all, anybody who believes anything this used car salesman is spewing out of his mouth with those stats, again, I'm going to go back to double-digit IQs, low-range double-digit IQ, to believe this ass clown who's the governor. Let's go on.
How to lower crime. He should pay attention to what we're doing in the state of Maryland, and I did it without ever having to once operationalize our National Guard to do...
Yeah, because you're a legend. You're a legend, Wes, in your own mind.
Municipal policing.
I mean, you said Maryland has reduced its violent crime rate. According to the FBI crime database, Baltimore is still among the top 3 big cities for violent crime, isn't it, along with Memphis and Detroit?
Yes, it is. Baltimore is in the top 3 of the most violent cities in the country. Violence, 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 violence. Everywhere, all over the place. It's outrageous, the violence in Baltimore City. Top 3 in the nation. Now let's see how the used car salesman spins this.
Well, I've been very clear that the #1 priority for our administration is making sure that people can feel safe in their neighborhoods and safe in...
People don't feel safe in their neighborhoods, Wes. They don't feel safe in the neighborhood, so you failed in your #1 priority, miserably. Let's go on.
...in their communities. And if one person does not feel safe in their neighborhood and their community, that is one too many. But
No. You're not going to get away with that nonsense. Okay, listen here. Listen here, Ace. You're not going to use the, if one person feels unsafe, then we have to do better because we don't even want one person to feel unsafe. That's a bunch of crap, okay? That doesn't work with me. You couldn't have me interview you because I would chew you up and spit you out in the interview because that you wouldn't get away with saying that. It's not about one person feels safe. It's about the whole of the society, where they're living, in the different neighborhoods, whether they feel safe. And they don't. They do not feel safe. The numbers are off the chart of people who do not feel safe. So don't you try to spew that one person. If one person doesn't feel safe, then wow, we got to do better. Bull crap, Wes. Let's get back to it. Used car salesman.
Reason that we've done things like making historic investments in local law enforcement, making historic investments in predictive analytics and technologies, and making sure that if someone commits a violent crime, particularly with a handgun, I want them in handcuffs in 24 hours. And making sure we're making...
What you want and what's actually happening, Ace, is not the same. Delusional. I want them in handcuffs in 24 hours. Kids are robbing people, stealing cars, knocking people upside the head. You got this no bail crap, and then they're out. And they're out on the streets with the same day. You got one kid got arrested for stealing cars and robbing and doing all kinds of nonsense 18 times, Wes. So you're not tough on crime. You're a cupcake. You're a cupcake on crime. cupcake. Let's go on. Let's listen to the used car salesman finish up so we can move on.
Commitments and partnership with the mayor, with our county executives, with our local community members, and making sure we're stopping the retaliatory nature of violence. And so while we are very encouraged by the numbers that we have seen, we've seen how the homicide rate in the state of Maryland is down upwards of 20%.
Okay, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to get to that in a second, what he just said. I'm going to segue into this. It was a perfect segue. I'm going to segue into this. Now let me play this first. I'm segueing into this to Slim Shady. Slim Shady, the shady mayor of Baltimore City, Brandon Scott. As far as I'm concerned, the kid looks like he just walked out of a methadone clinic. This one. Tell me he does not look like he just walked out or is getting ready to walk in a methadone clinic. Tell me that. Tell me he doesn't. I went to pat him on the shoulder. Hey, Brandon, yeah, you know, hi, sir. That's what he said to me, because he should, because I'm his elder. Said, oh, Brandon, went to pat him on the shoulder. I mean, nothing but skin and bones. I thought he was going to fall over. He's got to be 120 pounds soaking wet. Okay? So, I got to warn you all. I warned you earlier. It's going to be some F-bombs and N-bombs. And this, I'm going to assume, white male left a phone message for Slim Shady, and he is racist, and it is, oh my goodness, it is offensive, the words that are coming out of his mouth. However, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play this Instagram that was sent to me, and I'm going to play it so you can hear its profanity. Woo! If you can't handle it, you know, fast forward from this section. But I'm going to play it. And I want you all to listen, who want to listen. And I'm going to give my opinion on what I think of all of this. Here we go.
Everybody, it's Mayor Brandon Scott. I've been debating whether I was going to share this voicemail that I received in June. But I really think it's timely for folks to hear the kind of hatred and vitriol and quite frank, racism that still exists in the world today. And know that what their representatives, what average people go through every single day still in this country. But I want to hear it and then give you my direct response to that message right now.
Yeah, this message is for Brandon Scott, the motherfucking nigger, wannabe, thug-ass gangster who pretends to be the mayor of Baltimore City. How about you stop making Baltimore a place for worthless piece of worthless shit niggers like you who just shoot each other and sell drugs? How about you fucking do your goddamn job and actually stop crime instead of benefiting and financially fucking upping yourself with it? We all know you're a motherfucking wannabe kingpin, and you are running Baltimore's criminal enterprise the way that you should be running the fucking city. You are a fucking nigger. You are a worthless fucking nigger, and every fucking nigger that works with you is just as much of a fucking worthless criminal nigger as you are. Fuck you. Fuck all of you. Go fuck yourselves. You would be better off if you all killed yourself.
There's a lot to unpack there, obviously. This isn't the first time I've been called nigger. It won't be the last. In fact, if I go a week without being called the N-word in email, text message, direct message, voicemail, whatever, I feel like I'm not doing my job. Because when they do that, they actually are expounding upon what we're supposed to do, making people who think like that.
Okay, here's my opinion. Now, when I first heard it, you know, you hear the F-bombs and the N-bombs, and this young man is very angry. I mean, he's very angry, and he's very racist. He is a flaming bigot. I mean, he is a racist. And there are plenty of people in Maryland, all over the country, who are flaming bigots. And they talk like this amongst themselves. But this one decided he wanted to get on tape and tell Brandon, Slim Shady, what he thought of him. And let me tell you something, kid. I'm talking to you, Brandon. Been around a little bit longer than you, almost 20 years. Longer than you've been here. And I've been called that. Every black guy has been called that. We've heard stuff like that. Sticks and stones, sticks and stones. Then I thought about it, and I talked with some people, some folks, and they gave me their opinion, and we talked this over. And we came up with, of course, the young man that called is a flaming bigot, and there was a lot of anger and hatred. But the question kept coming up. And the content of what he was saying about Brandon and the allegations that he was making about Brandon, is it true? Is it true? I mean, the delivery was offensive. The name calling, the F-bombs were offensive. But the content, was it true? Because I know Brandon, the BG&E, backstabbing BG&E deal, everybody's BG&E bills have gone up, just going up. Because he allowed an energy conglomerate to take control, gain control of it, of the conduit system, which affects everybody's bill in the state, within the state, most of the counties, not just Baltimore City. And some people said he just ran to the bank with that. Some people say he got offshore accounts. They said he cleaned up. If he hasn't, it will be. And Safe Streets, the FBI raided Safe Streets. Allegedly, word is, they're looking into more than just Safe Streets. There are people been on Fox News and said, hey, it's a criminal organization. So this young man, even though he had a lot of hatred and bigotry and a flaming racist, may have a KKK cat in his closet. However, is what he's saying true? Brandon never said it's not true what he was saying. It goes on, this goes on more. Maybe I missed that. Maybe later on he said that's not true. But that's food for thought. Once you get past all the F-bombs and the N-bombs, once you get past that, if you're a critical thinker, and you can get past that, and you look at the crux of the content, you only have one question to ask. Is it true? Let's go on with Slim Shady. Slim Shady was on CNN. He kept himself busy. He was on CNN. Let's take a gander.
Of other, what he knows is blue cities. Might be next.
We have other cities also that are bad, very bad. You look at Chicago, how bad it is. You look at Los Angeles, how bad it is. We have other cities that are very bad. New York has a problem. And then you have, of course, Baltimore and Oakland. We don't even mention that anymore. They're so far gone.
And what he said is, Baltimore and Oakland, they're so far gone. People get, especially in Baltimore, certain demographics, big city areas, if you say Trump, they just lose it. I mean, they can't even, they just lose it. That critical thinking goes out the window. Trump, I'm going to be talking about some Trump. I'm going to be talking about some Trumps later, just a little bit. But this city is too far gone. Baltimore is a mess. It's the dirtiest city in America under Brandon Scott. It's the top 3 most violent cities in America under Brandon Scott. And Westmore, since Trump is on it, Westmore says he's the commander-in-chief. Let me explain something to you. I digress. I'm going to get back to Brandon in a second. I digress, Governor Moore. The National Guard, let me explain something. Maybe your people who are your staff, I know your chief of staff, he was rolling out. But maybe they need to explain to you that the National Guard can be taken from a governor. The president can federalize it. I don't know, before you got on CNN and start popping off at the mouth, and before people started putting microphones in your face and you started running your mouth, that you're the commander-in-chief of the National Guard as a governor. That's true. Technically it's true. But he's the commander-in-chief of the entire military. That out-trumps you, no pun intended. So maybe they should have told you that Trump can gain control over the Guard, and there's nothing. You're a Bronze Star Baltimorean, who you are. I'm being facetious because you're not from Baltimore. That was a lie. You can't do a thing about it. So this is what I got to say to you about that. The National Guard and you being in control and what Trump can do and what Trump can't do. You can suck it up, Buttercup, because he can take the National Guard and take control of it by federalization. So there's a lesson learned. Now let's get back, after I digress to that. Let's get back to what Slim Shady had to say on CNN.
You know, I have to wonder when I was watching him earlier, what each of the mayors of those cities were thinking when they were...
Allison and Michael are busy people.
I'm doing that.
They lived in their home.
That's what happens on YouTube.
Out, whether it was accurate.
Okay, back from the commercial break.
What the reaction might be. So I invited one on. The mayor of one of the cities that Trump said might be on deck. He joins me now. It's Mayor Brandon Scott of Baltimore, Maryland. Mayor, welcome. You know, as I mentioned earlier, look, people have to feel safe. And you can give them all the stats in the world. If they don't feel it, then they're not buying it. You, of course, know that in your district, in your state and city, it's different than Washington, D.C., right? Because the president is able to send in the National Guard and take over D.C. police for a period of about 30 days. But a military presence in Washington, D.C., is that the right way to fight crime here, given your experience in Baltimore?
No. And I think we all know that, right? And we all know...
What do you mean we all? Now, again, here we go. He's an elitist where he is going to tell you what you know. Oh, we all know that. No, dummy. What a moron. You don't ever talk in concretes like we all know. No, look at him. Look at this. Let's continue, because you just started off stupid.
What the president is doing is really just spitting this right-wing propaganda and using the media.
Right-wing propaganda. No, let me explain to you. I'm going to get to this. I got to touch on this. President Trump's bringing in, hardening up. It's called hardening an area by bringing in military troops. And there's a reason for it, and I'm going to get into that later. It's more, I think it has to do with crime, but that's a part of it. Is actually a cover for what is really going on, and the outsiders will explain to you what's really going on. People are asking me, show them what's really happening, and I'll explain it. But let's continue with Slim Shady, and we'll get to that.
The bully pulpit of the highest office of the land to push things that we know. No one in D.C., my sister mayor is not saying that they don't have issues to work on, but the reality is that D.C.'s violent crime is at a 30-year low. And quite frankly, that's the case.
No, that's ridiculous. Again, you're saying stuff that's not true. All this is a 50-year low, 30-year low. The things are wonderful. It's the lowest, and people are scared to death to come out of their house.
cities around the country. I think it's very notable that each and every one of the cities called out by the president has a black mayor. And most of those...
Well, whose fault is that? I mean, I don't really give a crap of the color of the mayor. The only thing is, what's the safety level? What's it like? You're a black guy and you are the mayor of a city and it's the top 3 in violence in the country. And then you got the other cities he named. Okay, and so what's your point? What's your point? Let's continue.
Cities are seeing historic lows in violent crime. In my city, in Baltimore, we have the fewest amount of homicides through this date on record.
Stop. Stop. Let me explain what's going on here. Back in 2023, I called Slim Shady out about his campaign promise of how he's going to lower the crime rate with his campaign promise. And he failed miserably. So we called him out. I called him out. And what we did is we started a campaign, if you will. It's called 206. Desmond Stinney and myself, Baltimore City voters, Desmond Stinney and myself came up with this marketing strategy to let people know, hey, the mayor said that the crime rate should be down to 206. And it was up to 250, 60, 70s or something. And then magically, after that, the crime rate just plummeted. Just magic, out of nowhere. Oh, things just got better and now it's down to 201. And, and I'm going, okay, we forced his hand. Yeah, I'm calling it out. That's what happened. It's a fact. When we forced his hand, and magically the number just went down. The Free Beacon did a story on police departments all over the country adjusting crime stats like Los Angeles, New York, D.C. Recently they got caught. Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, and Baltimore also has a police department and that faced investigations into crime data accuracy. Those numbers have been fudged. And let me also explain this. Now, you know what? Let him talk. I'm going to give you this caveat. Let him finish going on with his tirade diatribe.
That's 50 years. 50 years.
Hello, I got to stop when he just said 50. Brandon, I was here 50 years ago in Baltimore. Not only were you not around, you weren't even a thought. Okay, you weren't here 50 years ago. So, it's coming from somebody who wasn't even here. I guess somebody told you that. Let's go on.
Low. And maybe we are too far gone from the broken right-wing policies of zero tolerance policing.
Let's see. The city's been run by Democrats. It's gone down the hill. You had 1 million people here. Democrats took over. It's fast approaching only 500,000 people. People are running out of the city. It's violent. The education system, the kids can't read. So you sound stupid right now. Go on.
All the things that did not make our city safer for all those many years.
Yeah, because the Democrats did such a bang-up job, everything's so great. You sound like an idiot. Call people out when they say stupid, when they talk stupid. This city has gone down the toilet. People are getting out of here. He acts like, oh, everything's been wonderful since the Democrats took over. Everything's been great since they took over, 60 some odd years ago. Everything's been wonderful. No, it hasn't. The city is tanking.
We know that having the military there is not the way to do it. The way to drive down violence in cities has been proving. Mayors across the country have brought together law enforcement, the legal...
Okay, I can't take it. Shut up. Okay. Let me give you some stats. I can't hear anymore. It's getting on my nerves. Let me give you all some stats. The crime murder rate, because he's talking about 50 years ago. This is 1975. The population of Baltimore City was 860,700 people back in 1975 when Brandon was not here. Nowhere around. Let me big screen it again. Okay. And the crime homicide rate was 28.6 homicides per 100,000 people. Now you got to remember, the city had almost 300,000 more people than they do now. That's like almost the size of Miami. Okay. Now in 2024, the crime murder rate was 34.3 homicides per 100,000. So in other words, the murder rate went up is up. I should say is up. Compared to 1975 to 2024, it's almost 20% higher. What does Slim Shady say? It's as low as 50 years ago. That's a lie. It's 20% higher. The murder rate's 20% higher per capita than it was in 1975. That's why you people need to do your homework and not listen to phonies and fakes like this guy, Slim Shady. Homicides. Baltimore City recorded a total of 201 homicides, marking a 23% decrease from 261 the year before. In 1975, it was 256 homicides, but it was 860,000 people. It was almost 300,000 more people. He doesn't say that because he thinks you are stupid. He thinks you are, all of you are stupid. I'm not. I'm a pretty intelligent cat. I'm not stupid. He thinks you all are stupid, where he can tell you something like that and you just accept it because of his title. I don't give a rip about your title. The truth. Tell the truth. But you know nothing about. Like your father, the father of lies. Let's go on. And here's another chart. I can just keep pulling up charts of homicide rates, but I want to get into this. This is what I really wanted to talk about. What's going on? It's called eschatology, people. Big word. Eschatology. 5-syllable word. And it's basically the study of Bible prophecy. There's heifers. We already dealt with one heifer at the beginning of the show, but I'm going to talk about 5 heifers. 5 heifers, which are cows. They have dark, like a dark reddish tint color. And in order for the temple in Jerusalem, they want to build a 3rd temple in Jerusalem. And my grandfather was a pastor, and he preached Bible prophecy and eschatology. And I just, when I got older, a little bit older, as a young man, I just went into it, studied it, and studied it, studied it, studied it. And a moment in time is taking place right now. Brandon, Wes, Belinda, and all of you people out here who are doing all the dirty, you need to get on your knees and you need to confess Jesus Christ as your Savior. Turn from your wicked, sinful, horrible, ratchet ways. I was only 7 years old when I accepted Christ. And anybody else listening to this, because I believe time, at least this church age, is almost up. And there's a 3.5-year period of hell on earth. It's called Jacob's trouble. It's in the Bible. You can read about it in the book of Revelation and other books in the Bible. You can Google it, Jacob trouble. And for that to happen, the 3rd temple is going to be built. And for the 3rd temple to be built, it has to be sanctified, and the priests have to be sanctified with what? The ashes of the red heifer. It's in Numbers, it's in Leviticus. Pull it up. And what's going on now in Jerusalem, in Israel? Here's a picture of what I was talking about, the red heifers. Bible prophecy. People believe in the rapture of the church. Some people don't believe it's going to happen at all. Some people believe it's going to happen before this 1,260 days of hell on earth. The 7 trumpets, 7 vials, 4 seals, series of trumpets, 3 series of trumpets, 7. People are saying September 23rd, something big is going to happen. People believe that the rapture is on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Teruah, day of the blasting, when the dead of Christ will rise first, and we who are alive and remain will be caught up to meet them all in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. I believe it could be soon. I studied the feasts. Jesus Christ died on a feast day, Passover. That's a fact. rose on a feast day. The church inception took place on a feast day, a Jewish feast day, Shavuot. Could the rapture of the church be on a feast day, September 23rd? We'll see. But a lot's happening. A lot's happening. Am I going to set dates? Because people are, you can't know the day and hour, and you can't set date. You know, actually, the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah, September 23rd, it's actually known as the day where you don't know the day or hour. That's actually the nickname for it, FYI. But you should be on watch. You should be watching and looking. And here is a huge, monstrous prophetic sign. It's called the Red Heifers. There was another monstrous prophetic sign. Revelation 12. The woman who gave birth, clothed with the sun, 12 stars on her head, and there was a constellation of Virgo, matched that prophecy perfectly. Because there hadn't been an alignment like that in over 7,000 years, and it happened on September 23rd, 2017, 8 years ago. So what I'm trying to say is this. Everybody can discuss, and you can debate, and you can argue, and you can go back and forth what you believe with the rapture and the end times, and you can go on and on and on. And I've had many conversations like that, even with my grandfather, Pastor Joseph Brown. Many conversations, but I tell you what, the bottom line is, it's all going to happen. And nobody or nothing is going to stop what's going to happen. Let's go to this story.
We have two huge new updates about the Red Heifers, and both of them are on polar opposite ends of what is going on with them. One is that the ceremony has actually taken place and it meets the requirements according to some beliefs within Judaism. And the other conflicting news from the Temple Institute is that all of the Red Heifers are disqualified, so let's get into these stories. The first one comes from Byron Stenson's Facebook page. Byron is a farmer from Texas known for bringing the Red Heifers to Israel. Byron posted this yesterday with a video from the mock ceremony as well as a long text in relation to it. This is the burning from July 1st. It was not on the Mount of Olives, and some Jewish leaders felt it does not pass all requirements they support. But it was real, and the first in 2,000 years. Some will say all you need is to follow the Torah. We did that. Others have a higher standard under the oral Torah. Many will never agree. But the world is changing fast, and I believe this ceremony changed something in the world. So it should be recognized as the first in over 2,000 years. Will there be more? Yes. Will everyone agree that those will be the right one? No. Many will continue to question and fight against the ceremony. I just think the world needs to know the ceremony went perfect with a perfect priest in a place outside of the camp. And in the opinion of those I respect, we used a perfect red heifer. This ceremony was done before Hashem. He is merciful and faithful. He knows we are not perfect. Today, if you hear him call out to you, repent and believe in the word of God. His promised Messiah is working in this sin-filled world. He wants to see us try our best to honor him, not fight between ourselves about these things. My heart and soul is innocent, and I have told you the truth as I understand that truth. Shalom to all. He also posted in reply to someone's comment on that post, it was real and it did happen. So according to Byron and some followers in some sects of Judaism, they followed all of the requirements that they need for the red heifer ceremony. Non-red hairs. Securing a red heifer is only one part of the process. Creating ashes requires a high temperature fire, eligible Kohanim or priests who are ritually pure, home birth and never exposed to death and purity, and materials like cedar wood, hyssop, red-dyed wool, and pure water from the Shiloach spring. The burning must occur on the Mount of Olives, facing the temple of God's divine purpose.
Most auto insurers love when you have two cars, and they love it even more when you have
Our mission is to be faithful in our role, trusting that God will accomplish his will through the construction of the third temple.
Okay. The third temple, it has to be purified with the ashes of a red heifer. The red heifer ashes have not taken place in 2,000 years. The first temple was Solomon's temple. The second temple was Herod's temple, which got destroyed by Antiochus Epiphanes in 70 AD. Now, almost 2,000 years later, there's the third temple. And yes, they're going to build the third temple. 666, the Antichrist, the book of Revelation, is getting ready to be opened in horrifying style. This is what's going on, because I believe that Ezekiel 38 and 39, Gog and Magog, you're going to have the Muslim countries, Russia's going to get pulled into it, and they're going to attack Israel. They were going to do it in 1982. I had confirmation for someone who was in the Soviet military. That didn't happen. That would have been World War III. So now you have a situation where the Muslims are not going to stand for the their Dome of the Rock is in that location, and that's a World War III scenario. Jerusalem will be a trembling cup for the whole world. That'll do it. So let me go ahead and play this, because the Muslims are having a serious issue with this.
With the plans that the Jews and the Christians have, they have very big problems with them rebuilding the temple. Because rebuilding the temple means that they are going to lose control over this area. The site is holy to Muslims because they believe that they're the ones who have most of a right over it, because they are followers and acceptors of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the value of the prayer on that site is worth, according to some narrations, 1,000 prayers otherwise. The Muslims, they have a very big problem.
Yeah, they do have a big problem. This is what's going to happen. Ezekiel 38 and 39, you can read it for yourselves. They're going to end up on the mountains of Israel. They're going to attack Israel. An all-out Panzer attack, blitzkrieg. They're going to lose horrifically. They're going to be sent into a kill pit. And they're going to get slaughtered. Along with the Russian military, country of Turkey, Northern Africa countries, all over. They're going to go after, they're going to go into Israel. Word is that Hamas attacked because they wanted to take out those heifers. And they were upset with that third temple. That's what the attack had to do with. There's a lot going on, people. I'm glad to be back. There's more coming. Confess. Confess. Christ is your Savior, because it might be too late for you. Anyway, before it's too late for you. There's not much time. Anyway, I'm Sean Sims. I'm back. Host of The Outsiders. I want to say God bless, and everyone, take care.